Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Behind the Streams with me, your host, Dylan Hay. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can get started with live streaming in 2020. This is going to be a really fun episode today. And before we get into everything, before we start rolling the show, before I explain a little bit more about what we're going to be covering today, I first of all want to hear from you. So any of you who are watching this right now, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you might be, drop us a comment and say hello and let us know where you are tuning in from. If you're either watching this live in real time with me today right now, or maybe you're watching the replay of this, we would absolutely love to hear from you, love to connect with you. So let us know where you're watching from. I am recording this, I'm going live today from Tallinn in Estonia. That is home for me. That is where my little office and studio setup here is. So interested to see where some of you are joining us from today. And today's topic on Behind the Streams, as I said, if you have just joined us for the first time, today we're going to be covering how you can get started with live streaming in 2020. So it's going to be an interesting episode today for sure, especially for those of you who have never live streamed before. So whilst we're waiting for a few of you to come along and say hello, I guess I'll do a quick introduction. So you are watching Behind the Streams with me, Dylan Hay. I am your host of this show. This is a weekly live stream series that goes out both on the Restream channels and on my own personal channels, where we discuss all things live streaming and give you practical tips and tricks every single Thursday to make sure that when you leave these sessions, you have a few things to implement that will help you either get started live streaming for the first time or take your streaming setup to the next level. So we go live every single Thursday at this exact same time. And if you are watching right now, if you're just tuning in for the first time, I want to encourage you to go along and say hello in the comments section. Let us know where you're tuning in from today. So a quick intro to me for any of you who do not know me, because I see already we have some comments coming through, such as this one over on Facebook that says, "Are you with Restream?" So we'll talk about that in a second. Great to see other people saying hello. So we have people over on YouTube. We have Tatiana who's tuning in from Brazil. Joe is saying hello too. Scott in Texas, Adrian saying hello. So keep those hellos and those comments coming. I want to hear from everyone who is watching today. We'll make sure that this is a super interactive streaming session. But for the intro, for people that don't know me, for the question that we had from Jay Young Matthew over on Facebook asking if I'm with Restream. So the answer to that is no, technically I'm not. My name is Dylan. I am an entrepreneur myself. So I'm one of the co-founders of a digital marketing agency called Hey Digital. We're a team of about 6 or 7 people, and we run paid advertising campaigns for SaaS and software businesses. So B2B technology companies that have software tools, we manage their advertising for them. And so you might think, okay, so why on earth are you leading this live stream then? And so the reason is that one of our sole driver of new business for my agency at Hey Digital comes from marketing content. And we don't really do too much aside from podcasting and live streaming. So I've been very active with live streaming, with video content creation. A few months ago now, I took up a challenge to do 30 days of live streaming where I live streamed every single day on LinkedIn, which is my main network, and then some other channels too. I took up that challenge and decided to use Restream to help me pursue that challenge. And as time went on, I just built a great relationship with the team at Restream, and they began to sponsor my podcast, which is called the SaaS Marketing Show. So if any of you listening to this work within the B2B software world, go ahead and check that out. And then it came to a point where we realized there is so much there's a boom going on right now with content creation, live content, video, podcasting, etc. And we wanted to do everything that we could to help support people either live stream for the first time, improve their live streaming setups. And because I come off the back of live streaming every single day for 30 days and then continuing my live streaming setup, we thought it would be great that I could come on and share some advice, share kind of behind the scenes, what's working for me, what we're doing with my streams, and support you with using Restream also, because I use Restream to power every single live stream that I do. So that's a real quick introduction about me and what this streaming series is all about. So if you're joining us for the first time today, we're talking about how you can get started with live streaming in 2020. So with that in mind, let me know in the comment section, have you ever done a live stream before? say yes if you've live streamed. Even if it's just one, say yes. Say no if you haven't. Because this streaming session today, Behind the Streams, this episode is purely focused towards those of you who have either never live streamed before or have just started live streaming. You may want to pick up some tips. If you're a seasoned expert, or if you've been live streaming like week after week for a long period of time, this maybe isn't the session for you today. Who knows? Like, you may capture something, but this is going to be focused on supporting those people first get started with live streaming, and also give you some ideas about how you can improve your setup as well. So I see that we have more people saying hello, which is awesome. I see we have Adrian saying, great tool, I love it. Any suggestions how you can promote your live stream? So Adrian, we have actually done, I believe this is the 10th week of Behind the Streams now. And so every week we tackle a different subject. And a few weeks ago, we did cover how to create content off the back of your live streams, how to promote your live streams more effectively. Maybe I'll give a few tips on that today, but I really would recommend checking out previous episodes of Behind the Streams. So what I'm going to do is show you exactly where to find those right now. So if you just bear with me for 2 seconds, what I'm going to do is, using Restream's studio feature that I'm using right now, at the click of like 2 buttons, if you check this out, I can actually start screen sharing, which is really exciting. So here we go. To answer your question, Adrian, let me bring this up. Okay, so if you are wanting to learn about how to promote your live stream or pick up any of the previous sessions that we've done, head over to the Restream channel, go to videos, and then select past live streams. You see it here. And you'll see we have my friend Ian, who does a weekly live stream. We have Friday Lives by Anya and the team at Restream. We have a weekly demo. And then we have me every single week. Here's my happy face down here doing a behind the stream. So you'll see that my previous episodes are things like how and why you should be multi-streaming, how to stream if no one is watching, how to create your own show, 20 tips to make a success, how to repurpose your live streams. This is a great one around streaming and promotion. And then how to drive sales, how to prepare, how to attract viewers. This is a good one for you, Adrian, with that question. So hopefully that is useful to all of you. And I would definitely recommend checking out the Restream channel if you want to see any of the previous episodes. Now, we have a lot of people that are engaging, which is great. So I see Vlad, who's tuning in from Vilnius, which is great. Jay Young asking how to get more viewers, but they have live streamed before. Ben's Brick Designs, good to see you back. I know you've tuned into a few of these sessions in the past. We have Dave, who says, yes, I've streamed before. Tatiana has never streamed before, which is great. So you are in the right place for today's session. Scott has had a weekly live show since January 2019. So Scott, if that's the case, this might not be the most useful session for you today, because we're talking about how to get started with live streaming, but I am happy to have you here if you want to. Jay Young says it's been a long time since I've streamed. And then Adrian says, thanks for the answer. I'm going to look in the archives. So perfect. Okay, so let's get into today's session then. We usually run these for around about 35, 40 minutes, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. However, what I like to do is take all of your questions as they come up throughout the session and keep this extremely interactive by asking you questions as well. So if you do have a question, make sure you go ahead, drop it in the comments section, and we will answer that live as we continue on throughout the session today. So, as I said, today's topic is how to get started with live streaming in 2020. And there's been this explosion of live streaming and content creation so far this year. And I would say that's probably been one of the highlights to come out of this extremely unusual and challenging for many people this year has been. And so one of the highlights has been more content creators, more live streamers. And we're here to support that. I'm very excited about that. I was one of those people too that started live streaming for the first time this year. But one thing that I am seeing and learning from speaking with all of you, from doing these sessions, from doing my own streams too, is that live streaming, it isn't always easy. The fastest and easiest way to live stream isn't always the best way to live stream. And in this week's episode of Behind the Streams, we'll be sharing everything you need to know about starting up your very first live stream. I'm just going to take some water and then we'll get into things. It's really fascinating to see all of the different types of people that utilize streaming as well. And we'll get into that in a second. So I want to ask you, if you are watching right now, if you have live streamed before or you're thinking about live streaming, tell me in the comment section. Go ahead and type something in. Let me know what it is that you would stream about. So for me personally, and this is the first step in how to get started with live streaming too. So we're not going off on a huge tangent here, don't worry. The first step that I have in my list is, okay, we need to decide what are we going to stream about and what is the purpose of our live stream? Like, why are we streaming? So what are we going to stream about and why are we streaming? And that's why I'm asking you right now to let me know in the chat section what it is that you stream about or you're thinking about streaming about. So for example, Tatiana, who's never streamed before, what do you do? Let me know. Let me know what you think streaming could be useful for you. I'll share my story. So I run a digital marketing agency. We work with SaaS and software companies like I talked about. And so I live stream a show called the SaaS Stream. So I stream live about updates within the SaaS space with things that I'm learning, things that we're doing for our clients of our agency, for example. And so the purpose of that is to continue building great content that helps my target buyers for my agency so that we're putting ourselves in front of more people that buy our services. That's one purpose. And then my second live streaming series is different. It's this one, Behind the Streams. And there is no sales focus with this. There's no push. The main focus with this live streaming is to help support you and make sure that you can learn a bit more about live streaming, how you can get better at live streaming. And hey, if you decide to test out Restream because you've seen me using it, you've seen other people on this stream talking about Restream, then that would be fantastic as well. So I see that we have Gary who says, I've been using Restream to do piano covers for 3 months, I think that is. So that is awesome, Gary. I would love to check out some of your piano covers. Maybe you can share the link to your sessions here. Now, we also have, who else has shared with us? So Matthew Kim or Jay Young, I'm not too sure what to call you, says that I stream games or want to stream games and gameplay, and I want to focus on entertaining people. So that's another really great point too. You want to focus on making your streams entertaining for some of you. Now, I can see we have a question from Michael that says, how can I stream to Instagram? Having some problems with that. Yeah, so streaming to Instagram isn't the easiest thing in the world, but I'm going to show you. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just typing in here to get something for you. So live streaming on Instagram is not a really smooth connection like with the other platforms like Facebook, for example. But Michael, what you can do, I'm just going to screen share again. If you check out this article in the Restream Help Center called How to Go Live on Instagram, I can actually share the link. I don't know if I drop the link in the chat. I don't know if you'll see it or not. Let's test this out. Okay, I just dropped the link. I think it has only been shared on, let's see, Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube. So as long as you're watching on one of those, Mike, which you are, I can see that you're watching on Facebook. You should be able to access that link directly in the comments section or in the chat section. So this will walk you through how you can go live on Instagram. So hopefully that helps you out, Michael. Okay, there we go. So that's that one covered. Now, let's get back to how to get started with live streaming in 2020. So as we said, the first step is to decide on what you're going to stream about and what the purpose of your live streams are. Now, I told you I decided to stream about SaaS and software marketing because that's what my agency does. That's who our target buyer persona is. My other stream, this series, Behind the Streams, we support people like you watching this right now to take your live streams to the next level, to improve your streams, to get better at streaming, to get more people watching your streams. And so the purpose of this is to just share some advice and some tips with you. So the first thing we need to do is to decide on what to stream about and what the purpose of our streams are. And then we take the next step, which is deciding on what tools we need to do the job, what hardware we need. So when I say hardware, I mean, do we need cameras, microphones, other bits and pieces of equipment? And this is a challenge. Actually, how many of you, if you're watching this right now, if you've thought about, I don't know what to use, like what camera shall I buy? What mic shall I buy? Do I need to buy additional equipment? Let me know if you're one of those people that's ever thought about that. If you've ever had the concern or the challenge of, not knowing what you need, whether you need to upgrade camera equipment or other bits and pieces. And whilst you do that, I'm just going to adjust my camera ever so slightly. There we go. Make it a little bit brighter there. Oh, that's not too good, actually. Hold on. Okay. Turn this light down. I was looking a little bit too shiny, I think. Okay, so if you've ever had that concern or that question, or you've looked at streams like mine where I have this, look at this. I have this big fancy looking mic. I have these lights behind me or whatever else. Like when you're first getting started with live streaming, you don't need all of this stuff. So there are a few steps to take. The first thing you decide on is you have to figure out what your budget is before you decide on what equipment you need or what equipment to purchase. And so what I would say is I'm actually going to share a few examples with you, but I like to look at this in stages. So if you're going to live stream for the first time, you've never streamed before, you're just getting started, you don't know if this is an activity that's going to necessarily make you funds or money or whatever it might be, you don't need any fancy equipment. All you need is your laptop or your computer that you use. If you have a laptop, it will have a webcam built in. You can use that, and you can use some headphones like this that have a microphone built in, or you can use your Apple AirPods, for example, or your Apple headphones that plug into your computer. Anything like that is enough. That's all you need. You take that and you use what you have at your disposal. Now, as you start to get more people watching your streams, maybe you have a higher budget that you can spend on your streams, some of you, or you know it's going to result in revenue for your business, then you can start expanding out depending on the different budgets that you have available and tools available to you. And so one thing that I was going to share with you to help through this process is this article too, which I know you'll find useful. So I'm happy to share the link for this one. So the team at Restream put together a 10-minute blog post about the top streaming equipment for you based on your budget. So I'm going to drop the link to that right now in the chat. Let's share that here in the comment section. And we'll fly through some of this, but I'm going to make my own suggestions as well, because that's really important. So the things to consider when you're building out your streaming setup, let's just pause this for a sec. The things to consider are audio, so microphones and other equipment potentially. So consider your audio, consider your visual, so your camera, and then consider your kind of backdrop or your setting, for example, and then any additional accessories that you may need. And so when first getting started, if we were to break this down into different levels, I would look at the first place to begin if you're going to start upgrading your setup, in my opinion, is a microphone, right? And that is in line with what the team at Restream is suggesting here also too. They were saying, okay, a starter pack, we would look at either this microphone or this microphone. The lav mic costing about $15, this one costing $20 to $25. I have some other suggestions that I would make also. So the first step is a microphone. I always look to the microphone first if you're going to get started, and then a simple webcam. So there are a few suggestions here. Now, if we go back to me on full screen, right now I'm streaming with something a bit more high tech than a typical webcam. I use my DSLR camera. But you don't need to do that. But I just want to show you the difference. So this is my DSLR camera. It is nighttime. It's pretty late here in the office. So it's not perfect setup. But if I show you what it would look like if I was using a webcam, let me show you this. And this is going to be a good webcam too, because this is an external webcam. But this is what it looks like on a webcam. Okay, so you see the difference here in quality between my webcam. It looks a lot less professional. We don't have that blurred look in the background. It's not very like clear imagery, for example. But what I use, and bearing in mind this is a good webcam too. This is a webcam that I would suggest to use instead of the built-in webcam to your laptop. And I'm going to show you what that is in a second. And so when I stream, I use my DSLR camera plugged into my computer, and I'll show you the tools that I use to do that. So if we go back to this screen share, the webcam, like this, there's 3 camera suggestions here from the team at Restream. The one that I use I would recommend, if you're just getting started and you don't want to use the built-in camera in your laptop, I would recommend this webcam right here, which is the Logitech C922. For about $100, you get HD video with this. This is great for streamers who are just getting started or looking to expand. And then as you start to grow, you can use a DSLR camera. So you guys will know what a DSLR camera is, but just in case, I'll show you. DSLR camera. DSLR camera is a camera that looks something like this, right? And so the way that you connect that to your computer is through using a capture card. So I use something called the Elgato Camlink 4K, which is this right here. And basically this nifty little device, once it shows up, here we go. This great little device lets me plug an HDMI, like plugs this into my DSLR camera via a micro HDMI and then into the HDMI in my computer. So this one little thing connects up to my camera and enables me to use my DSLR camera. So that is my camera setup that I look at. Now, of course, you don't have to follow that. You can use whichever tools that you want. But if you're just getting started, I would really recommend a webcam and an external microphone to begin with. Now, I see we have some questions. So someone says, Jay Young says, I don't show my face in my live stream. Do I have to show my face? You definitely don't. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. I always recommend showing your face, just because if you're trying to build a community or support people, people really enjoy getting to know you. And the live stream is a great way to get to know you. And it really helps if they can see your face, they can see your expressions, they can see what you look like. So for me personally, I would never live stream without my camera on. However, I know some people probably do that and probably have success with that. But I feel like you can build a much more meaningful connection with your audience if you have your camera turned on. I see that we also have some other questions coming through, so we'll take those as we go. So Gary says, there is a good app I use called Dolby On, which I use to stream through Restream. Really helps the audio. I've never heard of that, so let's check that out. I'm going to show you guys what I use to make my audio even better as well, which is more of a high level setup. So this is what Gary is recommending. Dolby On, audio, video, live stream. Use amazing Dolby sound straight from your phone. Awesome, so that's interesting. So here is something to check out potentially that Gary has suggested. So thank you for that suggestion, Gary. Now, what I use to take my audio to the next level, let me show all of you this. Now, this is like next step up, but this is because I'm a podcast host as well. I have a piece of equipment on my desk that I could maybe show you in a second, which takes, like, I have a good quality microphone as well, but feeding the microphone into this, the Rodecaster Pro, really helps me take my audio to the next level. Like, it basically kind of edits my audio on the fly, make sure it sounds good. And then I have a little soundboard here so I can play various little sounds through the click of one button too. So let me just test this out. I don't want this to get too noisy, but did you hear that? Maybe I'll try that again. Let me know if you heard that, because I don't have my headphones plugged in. Let me put my headphones in and see. There we go. So you should be hearing like some little drums. I have this little soundboard. I have my podcast intro attached. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. So this is the background music to my podcast. I usually run the intro over this, so you can turn it up and turn it down, as you'll see. I also have some other background music here that I use. So I use background music like this when I am starting to introduce people. Maybe I can turn the levels up and down, like here you'll see. And I can use this setup to power 4 different microphones. I can have someone calling in on a mobile phone. I can record my podcast here. It edits my audio. Very, very cool tool indeed. So that is something that you can potentially look at as you start to take your setup to another level as well. So, yep. So Scott says, so that's coming through the Rodecaster and you're in the live stream studio on Restream. Yeah. So Scott, basically all I have, the Rodecaster is my audio device. So my microphone is plugged into my Rodecaster. And then in Restream, I select that my audio output and my audio input is the Rodecaster. And so everything comes through the Rodecaster. It's really, really cool, actually. It's like awesome if you're doing interviews. I can take clips and then I could put them on these sound pads and play them out, for example. I can record my intro as I'm doing the podcast, so I don't need to pre-record something or do something afterwards, for example. Lots of cool things that you can do with a tool like this. I could maybe actually just show you. Let's see if this would work. I'll grab my webcam and then I will show you down here. Let's try this. Okay, so where is it? Here we go. So this is my desk that you're looking at right now. And you can see this is the Rodecaster Pro setup down here. And so that is how it works and how we have that set up. So let me just quickly switch my camera back. There we go. Yeah, and then so in the audio input and output, I just switch it to that. Now I see we have some other questions coming through. So I want to keep the session because it's how to get started with live streaming. I want to just answer all of your questions as we go and then bring up some of my other points that I had as we go throughout the streaming session too. So Scott says, nice, now I want to replace my Behringer. I have a Stream Deck but can't integrate with Restream Live. So I have a Stream Deck too for when I used to use OBS, and my Stream Deck was for like switching scenes and stuff. I can't use that with Restream Studio. I would love that to work with Restream Studio. But the great thing about the Rodecaster is because it is just a sound output and input, it works perfectly with Studio, which is fantastic. Okay, this person says you can call me Matthew. I will do that. Any tips for bringing in a second person to a live stream? For example, another streamer's camera and or gameplay for a collab. So I don't know specifically about gameplay because I don't know. I'm not a gamer. I don't game. I don't stream gaming. However, you can use Restream Studio to invite a guest into your stream. So I think it would be possible to collaborate that way. I can actually just show you how you do that and what that looks like, because this is something that I use for my interviews. Let's go here. Let me screen share again. Okay. So this is Restream Studio. Now it says obviously I'm already connected because I'm already live streaming, so you won't see the full experience here. But if you see down here, there's this button that says invite guests. Let's press retry and see. Okay, so this button that says invite guests, and then I click on that button, and then here we go. You can have up to 10 guests in your stream. So I would take this link and I would share it with my guests, and then they would come and join my stream that way. So that's how I bring people in to do interviews. I can actually show you some examples of what that looks like. If you bear with me for 2 seconds, I will try and grab a couple of the interviews that I did so that you can see how smooth that process is. Okay, so I'm just going to search through my LinkedIn, grab you an example of an interview where I invited somebody on using Studio, because it does work very, very nicely. And it means your guest doesn't need to install anything. Very simple process. Oh, sorry about that. If you heard me doubling up, I didn't realize I had the audio playing. Okay. So, okay, nearly there. I'm just finding an interview that I can show all of you. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So this is an example of an interview that's powered by just inviting a guest on in Restream Studio. So you see I can maximize the screen like that, bring us on in large. I can have all the user studio effects. I can zoom out, etc., etc. So yeah, there we go. That is an example of using Restream to bring guests on. So hopefully that helps for you, Relaya. As Jay Young says, yep, it's okay to make mistakes. Yeah, I had the audio playing still. I didn't mute it, so I'm sorry about that. But that is one of the benefits of, one of the important things about live streaming. Things go wrong, and that's totally fine. So I want to encourage any of you who are going to get started with live streaming for the first time, because that's what today's session is all about. If you are going to live stream for the first time, you're going to make some mistakes, and that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, so we've decided which hardware to use. You've decided whether you're going to upgrade your setup to get a new camera, to get a new mic. You've taken a look at a few of the different options out there about what tools you can utilize. And then the next step is, how on earth do you actually go live? Like, I think most of you probably know because you're here today watching this session, but how do you go live? And I see we have a question from Brodacus. I don't know how to say that. So this is basically a Restream Studio OBS alternative for new people. Pretty cool. So the way I see Restream Studio is, yeah, for sure, 100%. Now, OBS has more in-depth features at this moment in time, but it can be very, very complicated for someone who's never streamed before. Whereas with Restream Studio, you can build out a studio-like show, studio quality show. You can bring comments up on the screen like I have right here. You can play videos. You can invite guests on. You can have different backgrounds, soon to be overlays coming as well. You can do all of that stuff directly from your browser. And it is so, so simple and easy to set up. So the next step you need to decide once you have your hardware is, what tools am I going to use? So this segues nicely into that kind of Restream versus OBS or any other streaming tools. What should we utilize, for example? And let me show you. So I see a question also from Ronnie. So I'll get to your question in a second, Ronnie, if you just hang around. But we need to decide what tool to use for our streaming. And so the reason I use Restream, let me just share my screen. It might get a bit funny because I'm going to be sharing exactly what I'm doing right now. But let's see. So we can see this is my stream that's live right now. This is me being able to monitor the stream. This is the different channels that we're live on. You can see that, the people that are watching on them. And if we go back to the home screen, so this is, in my opinion, the best way to get started with streaming, because first of all, it's all directly in Google Chrome or your internet browser, very easy to set up. You can sign up for Restream, and within a few minutes, you can be going live. And so one thing I'll actually get to that in a second, but you can set up in a few minutes, and then you can attach different channels. So you'll see right now I'm live on my personal LinkedIn. I'm not live on my Facebook, but I could be if I wanted to be. We're live on Periscope, on Restream Facebook, on YouTube events. But we can also add, if you see here, we can go live on over like 30 different channels all at the same time. And so by doing that, we're able to share our message with a lot more people. Because if you were to just go live on Facebook or just go live on Twitter or Instagram or whatever it may be, you're missing out on opportunities for more people to discover you, the more people to watch you and see you. So you connect your platforms here, very, very simple and easy to do. And then once you do that, you can go into your studio. Let's see if we can do this real quick. You go into Studio, and this is what Studio looks like. Hopefully this doesn't like double out on the screen too much. Let me just try this. Okay. So you can go into Studio, and then in Studio, you'll start to see your live chat will appear here. Now, obviously it's not appearing right now because I'm like doubling up in two different studios at the same time, but I get to see your live chat come up here. You can choose from different captions. So you can type in captions and then you can bring them up on the screen like this, which is pretty cool, pretty easy. You can, when you see comments come in, you click on show and it will show it on the screen like this. You can have different graphics, so different backgrounds, for example, like you'll see all these different options. Now you won't see them at the moment because it's me on the full screen, right? But yeah, you see all these different options here. And then you can utilize overlays. So for example, for my other stream, the behind the stream, sorry, not behind the streams, for the SaaS stream, you'll see that I have a border that I utilize. I also have a logo that I bring up here. So you guys can see that. Or you could switch to the Restream logo, for example. You could turn those off. That's how we have different overlays. Like that's how I do the stream starting soon. You'll see that. Or we have this one for the end. We have behind the streams badge in the top corner, which I've just realized I haven't put on today's stream. So let's do that. There we go. So all these different options, and then you can share your screen by hitting this button, and then it pops something up so that you can choose which screen you want to share. You can invite guests on, you can play video. So Restream Studio enables you to build out a quality level of production for your streams without having to use any complicated tools, and you can do it all directly from within your browser, which is fantastic. So to answer the question, it is, in my opinion, much more than just an alternative to OBS. And when you're considering streaming for the first time, because that's the purpose of today's show, how to get started, I would recommend you utilize something like Restream because it makes your life so much easier. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, I really would love to try Restream, there is a great free plan. But if you go ahead, even if you're going to check out the free plan, use this link that you see down here, restream.am/Dylan, because if you sign up using that link, there will be a $10 credit put into your account. So if you ever decide to upgrade to one of the paid plans, you will you have a nice little money off waiting there for you. And so one final thing that you can do that I didn't show you yet is you can play videos directly from Restream Studio too. So check this out. I'm going to play a little clip with a little ad for Restream Studio. So take a look at this. And so as you're able to see there, we are able to get really intelligent with how we stream. We can build out a studio-like show using a tool like Restream Studio. So that's my recommendation if you're getting started and you're looking for tools and software. Of course, you can just go live directly on Facebook. But if you were to go live directly on Facebook, you would not be able to do any of this stuff that I'm showing you. You couldn't pull through these graphics, these videos. You couldn't bring people on as easy. You couldn't pull up comments, etc., etc. So that is the next step when you're going to get started with live streaming. These are, in my opinion, the most important things when you're thinking about getting started. Is looking at, okay, what am I going to stream about and what is the purpose of my live stream? Once you've decided on that, it's then deciding on what hardware you need or you want to utilize to support you. So cameras, microphones, lighting we didn't talk about, but I have a light here, for example. That's without the light, that's with the light. So things like that. And then finally deciding on what software to utilize. So what can you use that makes it as easy as possible for you to go live? And in my opinion, Restream and Restream Studio is one of the best options out there. So I see some other questions. So bring in your questions if you have them, because we will be wrapping up this live stream within the next kind of five minutes. So any questions that you have, please bring them through into the chat. Now I see Jay Young says, can you put the camera on your streams just by the Restream Studio? I don't really understand what you mean by that. So maybe if you could explain that question a little bit better. Sorry, I don't understand that question. Scott says, I love Restream Studio, super simple and easy to manage. Exactly. So Scott, I really do enjoy OBS. Like I love all of the customization opportunities with OBS, but I have not used OBS now in months because it is very, very easy for me to just turn on my computer, open Studio and go live without worrying about anything. So I agree with you. Ronnie says, why are these options not available for streaming games? Okay, Ronnie. So honestly, I don't stream games, so I'm not too sure what you mean by that. Maybe if you could get specific about some options that aren't available, I'm not too sure. Maybe someone from the team at Restream can help. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that. But maybe if you could expand, I'll see if either I can help, someone at Restream can, or someone else watching us today can help. Matthew says, can you put the camera using Restream Studio? I'm really sorry, dude. I still don't understand. Can you put the camera using Restream Studio? So yeah, I don't know what you mean, Matthew. Down to Ronnie, the intro graphics and logos. So Ronnie, I'm not too sure, because if you use Studio, you can do intro graphics and logos, etc. So if you use Studio to stream your games, you should be able to. Karu says, when you share video, Do you select a window, or is there a specific way to share video without apps, icons, and less delay? Not too sure about that question either. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm being dumb here. When you share video, do you select a window, or is there a specific way to share video without apps, icons? So when I shared the video clip with you about Restream Studio, the little ad, how I share that and how I share the intro videos and everything else is you upload the video to Restream Studio. So I'm not selecting a window, I'm uploading a video and then rolling. So to show you an example, I'll play this really fast and then I'll stop, but we have this countdown timer. And so that's just uploaded, or I have an intro to my other stream. And that's just a video that's uploaded to Studio. So I'm not sharing a window or anything else. Hopefully that helps. Okay, Jay Young says, like having my stream on the Studio and then put my webcam using Restream Studio. So you're asking if you can have two cameras? Is that the question, Jay? Like you want to show the Studio? Let me know why you would want to show the Studio in your stream. Okay, Ronnie says, okay, I would try that, haven't tried that. Our understanding of the software is different than yours, that's why our questions are vague. Oh, I'm not saying your questions are vague. I'm just saying that like sometimes I don't understand either because everyone has like a different streaming use case, right? So I don't understand the kind of language around gaming and what people need to do there because I've never been a gaming streamer. So please don't worry about asking questions. That's what we're here for. Karu says uploading. Thanks. Yeah, exactly. So you upload the videos. Okay, so one thing that I'll say is as the questions continue to come through, we will wrap up in a couple minutes. I'll try and stay here for as many questions as we can. So if you do have one, please drop it in. If not, I would want to say a huge thank you for tuning in for Behind the Streams today. If you found it useful, valuable, please let us know in the comments section. I would love to see that. The team at Restream would love to see that. And if you are going to leave right now, please make sure you come back and join us next week for another episode of Behind the Streams every single Thursday at the same time. So if you do decide to leave us, thank you. I appreciate you. I hope this was helpful. I hope you had a good time. And then I'm going to hang around to answer the last few remaining questions. So Scott says you can't have two cams in the live studio yet, but you could invite yourself as a guest and have two cameras in essence. Yeah, or Scott, one thing that you could do that I've been thinking about is getting one of those, what's it called? Hold on, give me a second. There was this tool that I was looking at recently where you can use it as like a camera switcher. I don't know if it works with Restream. I haven't checked yet. But where is it? Bear with me. I'm gonna find this. Okay, so it's a tool called the A10 Mini. This thing. I was looking at this because I think you can then just plug your various different cameras into the A10 Mini and then select your video input as the A10 Mini, and then you could switch. That is what I'm thinking about testing out. In theory, that would work with Restream. In theory. So that is maybe something to look at for multi-camera setups, because I would love a multi-camera setup here as well. So that's an idea. Let me know your thoughts on that, Scott. I'm interested if you've considered something or heard something like that either. Matthew says, great, which is cool. Oh, I see a nice little message. Congratulations, you've received 100 messages today with the Restream chat. That is nice. That means we had a nice engaged stream, so thank you everyone for all of your comments today. Scott says gamers like to have a picture-in-picture stream. Okay. Gabriel just says Sal. I don't know what that means. Okay, if anyone has any other questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat now. If not, we will start to wrap this up. So I'll wait another 5-10 seconds. If nothing comes through, I will wrap up. So I want to say a huge thank you for joining us today on Behind the Streams. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you found it useful and helpful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week for another episode of Behind the Streams. So we're going to tune out there. Have a great day, great evening, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you very, very soon.